Audio check. Oopsies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the Spring Into Your Power in Midlife Summit. After you've had some time to digest some of the information from yesterday's discussion, I want to know if there's still something resonating with you that occurred that you hadn't considered. Also, I want to know who did the homework. So I want to hear in the chat how that homework went. Now, if anybody's not familiar or they forgot, the homework was to send a text or an email or a letter, phone call, something to either offer some support to someone that you know is having a hard time or to ask for support if you're the one who needs a little bit of help right now. It doesn't have to be much. It didn't have to be a big deal. It's just a small thing that you can do to give that little bit or get that little bit, whatever is needed right now. For those of you joining us today but didn't make it yesterday, I'm Doris Efford, your host for this summit, also the founder of Prompted Collective Coaching Services and the Stress-Free Method. Don't forget to engage with our experts. Our speakers aren't just delivering wisdom and disappearing. They are live in the chat throughout their session, most of them, except for one, and I'll let you know when that happens. So if something sparks an idea, a question, or even a, dang it, I really needed that, or that really hit home, I want to hear about it in the chat. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more, and maybe whatever we talk about can help spark someone else or resonate more deeply for you so that you can move from shelf-help to self-help. So the experts are here to connect with you in real time. Now, on-demand access and replays. Just a reminder that this is a no-stress event. I get that sometimes ish happens and you might not be able to hang out with all the speakers, and that's okay. No worries. I'll be sending you an email at the end so that you can have access and register to the on-demand series so that you can access each topic as you want to see it or rewatch the whole thing. Totally up to you. You will have access to it for a few days before it goes into the vault. So just know that you won't miss out on any of the magic. And hey, if you're catching this on YouTube and thinking, wait, what? On-demand access, speaker gifts? What is this? You need to register. Head on over to stressfreemethod.com/summit. That's stressfreemethod.com/summit and sign up. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on all of these incredible bonuses. Not only do you get the on-demand replay from yesterday and today, but you will get all of the gifts that our experts have generously provided. So if you thought yesterday was good, I can't wait to hear what's going to happen today. There was some fantastic stuff happening in the chat, and people were really getting blown away by the topics and stuff. So we have 5 speakers today. So even more opportunity to learn, even more opportunity to get some tools to help you out and spark something for you. For me, it was fire. Drop an emoji that shows me how you're feeling right now in the chat. Even if you're watching this on YouTube a little bit later on, drop that emoji anyway, just so that I can see how it's impacting people. All right, are you ready to get started? Phew, yeah, me too. Grab your beverage. I've got a little bit of coffee because it's still morning, although I've had quite a bit of coffee, so this might be my last cup. We'll see. And grab a notebook and let's get this going. First up today is Kel Karuna. Kel is a globally recognized self-love and transformation mentor. She's a best-selling author, an international speaker, and podcast host with a mission to help women break free from toxic patterns, heal at the root, and step into their most authentic expression. Kel guides her clients through deep self-love, nervous system healing, feminine embodiment, and subconscious reprogramming. Her own journey, leaving an emotionally abusive marriage and rebuilding her life from the inside out, ignited her passion for helping women reclaim their power, trust themselves fully, and create lives that feel as good as they look. Through private coaching, immersive experiences, workshops, and transformational programs like Goddess Codes, she creates sacred spaces for healing, growth, and radical self acceptance. Splitting her time between Bali and Costa Rica, Kel leads a global movement of women breaking free from perfectionism, people pleasing, self doubt, external validation, and self abandonment, guiding them back home to themselves, their power, and their purpose. Now, as I said, she splits her time between Bali and Costa Rica. Right now, she is in Bali, so it is the middle of the night. So she will not be live in the chat, but we will make sure to send her any messages that you are asking questions about. But you're in for a real treat. So please meet Kel Karuna.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh my goodness, it is such an honor to be here with you today. I'm Cal Karuna, formerly known as Cal Cal. My name has been on its own journey, but let's save that conversation for another day because I have a lot that I want to share with you today. So, I am a self-love and transformation coach, a best-selling author, international speaker, and podcast host. And I am so passionate and love creating transformative spaces for women to connect with themselves, to heal, and to remember their magic within. So that's what we're going to be exploring and diving into today. But first, let's just take a moment to drop in, arrive, and connect with ourselves. Maybe you've been watching a few of the other incredible talks, or maybe you're just now joining, but there's probably been a lot that's happened before this and a lot that may or may not happen after this. So let's just take a moment to arrive and connect. So closing down your eyes, if that feels safe for you, just taking a moment to give yourself permission to be here now, welcoming all of yourself into the space, knowing that all of you is welcome here, and just taking a moment to acknowledge yourself, acknowledging yourself for being here, for showing up, for saying yes to yourself, and taking this time for yourself, just feeling into that energy of celebration for yourself, and just taking a moment to bring your awareness to your breathing, just noticing your natural cycle of breath. Does it feel deep and full, perhaps more shallow? Not making one right or wrong, just noticing. Now, perhaps inviting in some intentionality with your breaths. So, taking a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, holding it at the top for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhaling out your mouth with a sigh for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that a few more times, taking a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, feeling yourself expand for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, holding it at the top for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling out your mouth with a sigh, letting it all go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perhaps just doing that one more time on your own. Breathing in for 5, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8. Beautiful. Now, just taking a moment to connect with your body, noticing where your body makes contact with the surface beneath you, and just taking a moment to notice any sensations, emotions, maybe any tension or tightness without needing to change or fix anything. Just noticing, feeling support, whatever it is that you're sitting on, letting it just be a reminder of how supported and guided you always are in each and every moment. Taking another long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, feeling yourself expand and letting it go with a sigh out your mouth. When you feel ready, you can blink your eyes open, return to the space. Welcome back. Just perhaps noticing any shifts from before when we first connected to now. And I'm going to be sharing my journey with you and just a few of the many lessons that I have learned. And I'm going to be speaking on some sensitive topics, sharing a lot of vulnerable stories. And I invite you to notice if you feel triggered at all. Triggered being that sense of activation within you, whether it is in the form of an emotion or your body just tightening up, or perhaps feeling judgment or some other flashback coming. And, triggers are a gift. They don't always feel like a gift in the moment, but triggers are truly medicine because they're showing you parts of yourself that are ready to be set free. And that's one of the beautiful things about stories is that we're able to see parts of ourselves through the lens of someone else. So our stories may look a little different or a lot different, but either way, there may be some common themes and threads throughout. So I invite you to listen with your body because our mind is really loud. Our mind has an opinion about everything. It's always overthinking and ruminating on things, right? Like the mind is loud, but our body is the source of so much wisdom and insight, but the body is quiet. The body speaks in subtle whispers and sensations. So as I'm sharing my story with you, the invitation is to really be present and to listen with your body above and beyond just what the mind has to say, because the body is our portal to our truth. So I'm excited to share this with you. What's wrong with your face? Why do you look like such a bitch? I'm standing in the kitchen of my dream home that I remodeled to perfection, fighting back tears because I know crying will make things worse. I put the burger I cooked for my husband in front of him and give my standard response to his recurring question. Sorry, it's just my face. I'll try to change it, try to look happier for you. He takes a bite of the burger and immediately slams it down. You intentionally overcooked and ruined this, didn't you? Life with my husband was a constant mind fuck. We had a successful real estate company. There were pictures of us on bus benches across the city, looking like the perfect partners in business and in love. We had the beautiful paid off home in sunny South Florida, a shit ton of money in the bank, six pack abs. I mean, I even drove a Porsche. I cried a lot in that Porsche. He tells me, I can replace you. You're nothing without me. You aren't perfect, but I accept you. Is doing everything I possibly could to be the perfect wife and love this man. Why don't I feel loved? I was doing what I knew to be loving. I thought the more I abandoned my needs and prioritized him, the more loving I was. Dad walks into the garage, and as a child, I knew that was his way to escape. It was where the beer was kept. As he enters the garage, a feeling of failure washes over my little body. Maybe if I was better, he wouldn't have to drink. I was a sensitive child who always felt so much. I couldn't even watch sports because I felt so bad for the team that lost. I could feel the emotions of people around me. They became my emotions and my responsibility. So I made myself responsible for my dad's happiness and his pain. Thought if I could love him enough, he would be happy in life and with me. His trips to the garage did not stop. Felt like I failed. Couldn't let anyone know that I was a failure. So my life began to revolve around trying to hide this shame. This started a cycle of me trying to figure out who I needed to be for others to be happy so that I could feel loved and accepted. I reached out to Christy on Facebook. I remember she shared about being in a narcissistic marriage and what it took to get out of it. Her story stuck with me, and I was awakening to the possibility that maybe I am in a similar situation, married to a narcissist. She tells me, "You are going to have to leave. It feels like a big mistake, but it is your ticket to freedom." Her words hit me hard. It was exactly what I was feeling. If I left, my life would be ruined, but I wanted freedom. I could accept ruining my life, but the thought of waking up 5 or 10 years later and regretting not leaving sooner, I could not accept. This helped me wake up. It was like coming out of a dream. I plead with my husband to let me go visit my sister in Washington. He says, "Fine, go." I get permission. 3 days later, I'm standing at the airport. I feel like I can finally breathe, and I feel the most foreign sensation: freedom. Holy fuck! I'm free to make my own decisions. I get to decide if I want a margarita or a coffee. I choose a margarita and feel like the happiest girl in the airport. And that moment, I knew there was no way I could ever go back to the life I once lived. This feeling of freedom gave me the courage to file for divorce when I got back to Florida. My husband immediately drained the joint accounts. I went broke overnight. So I returned the Porsche I could no longer afford, asked my parents for help, and fly back to Washington to move in with my sister. I joined a domestic violence support group and start seeing therapists to deal with PTSD. I declare that this is the beginning of my journey of self love and self discovery. I put the straw down after sniffing a line of powder. It's 7 a.m., and my morning routine consists of running 2 miles, applying layers of makeup, styling my hair perfectly, and snorting a line of Adderall. It disconnects me from my emotions, and I get to focus on being more productive. It's the beginning of 2020, and my favorite hobbies are anything and everything to distract myself. Once again, my life looks good from the outside. I'm now living in Seattle. I rebuilt my real estate business. I appear to have my shit together, but inside, I'm struggling. I get high all day to try to numb myself. Anxiety and panic attacks are my baseline. An eating disorder and compulsive exercising have become a way of life. So it's not the life of freedom I envisioned for myself. It's now March of 2020 and clear that the world was about to shut down, which means my greatest fear was about to come true. I was being forced to be alone with myself. I discover a nearby beach where I can tan, work out, and stay fit. It becomes my daily sanctuary. 3 months later, my feet are buried in the sand, and I feel a sense of presence and connection to the moment as I watch the sky turn into a masterpiece of the most vibrant colors as the sun sets behind the mountain peaks. I breathe and begin to feel alive. I was connecting with myself through nature, grounding my feet on the earth, submerging my body in the icy cold waters of the Puget Sound. Worked really hard to avoid slowing down. I was actually terrified of it, but the pandemic gave me no choice. I had to be with myself. And by being with myself on that Washington beach, I stopped avoiding and started feeling. Feel called to learn about spirituality. Is it a religion or some kind of weird cult? I didn't know, but I was determined to find out. I start reading books by Gabby Bernstein, Michael Singer, Wayne Dyer, and Eckhart Tolle, and commit to meditating. This was when I began to realize that the most toxic relationship of all wasn't the relationship with the now ex husband, it was the relationship with me. I am the common denominator in my life. If I wanted my life to change, then I needed to change. So I do. I begin to heal my nervous system, make changes to my lifestyle, and do the deep inner work that I had been avoiding. Start to see life from a new lens. This wasn't a journey about fixing myself. It was about changing the belief that I was broken. I didn't need to learn to love myself. I just needed to unlearn all the ways I wasn't loving myself. Life was never trying to break me, it was trying to crack me open so I could return to the truth and my own love within my heart. I realized I am a soul having a human experience. It also becomes clear to me that I was not put here on this earth to sell houses. I'm here to support other women on their journey of healing and transformation. So I start building my coaching business. Instead of giving the keys to a house, I now get to share the keys to unlock your fullest expression and return home to yourself. That's cool as shit, I think, as I'm scrolling on Instagram and see an online coach from the UK living in Bali. It's 2022, and I'm sitting on my couch in Washington while she's living her dream life. I hear a voice say, "You could do that." Could I really move across the world to a country I had never been to? I've ignored my intuition enough in my life to know that I should never ignore my intuition. So I moved to Bali. Feels good to embody what I'm teaching. Feels even better to be the creator of my own life. This was the freedom I desired, the freedom of knowing that I create my reality and trusting myself to actually do it. Freedom from my own judgment and limiting beliefs, of no longer defaulting my power to someone else. The true freedom of being connected to my personal power and of loving and accepting myself exactly how I am and exactly how I'm not. And this is how I cured my resting bitch phase. There is an energetic shift that occurs when you have a loving relationship with yourself and believe in your own innate worth. Something magical happens when you realize the love you were looking for all along was your own and that you are worthy of your own love. The more you love yourself, the more life loves you back. And spoiler alert, transforming the relationship with yourself will transform your entire life. The first step is to recognize that you have a relationship with yourself. The relationship I had with myself used to be so toxic that I didn't even know I had one. Imagine being in a relationship with someone and they pretend like you don't exist. Sounds like a red flag to me. We hear red flags being talked about in the context of relationships with other people, but what about the red flags in the relationship with yourself? Let's play a fun game called Is This a Relationship You Would Want to Be In? Your partner constantly says one thing but does another, criticizes you and tells you that you aren't good enough, ignores your emotions, is always on their phone and never really present with you. I don't know about you, but this relationship sounds toxic as fuck. Yet, is this not the relationship that most of us have with ourselves? How often have you told yourself you're going to do something and then didn't do it? We break promises and lie to ourselves. We gaslight ourselves and dismiss our emotions. We neglect our needs and prioritize others. Imagine how amazing life would be if you had the most incredible partner that always supported you, listened to you, cared about your emotions, and met all of your needs. Now imagine being that person for yourself. We know that self love is important, but how do you actually do it? Do you take yourself to the spa and go on vacation? Hashtag self care. I can tell you, I've taken a lot of bubble baths and spent a small fortune getting my nails done, but I still didn't feel like I loved myself. But then I discovered the secret. The key to loving yourself is to recognize all the ways that you aren't loving yourself. Remember those red flags? Get curious about them. Curiosity leads to understanding, and understanding creates the space for compassion and healing. The ways you aren't loving yourself are usually coping mechanisms. They provide temporary relief in the moment, but they're just band aids to hide the pain. For example, me snorting Adderall every morning, getting high all day, binging and purging every night were not loving behaviors towards myself. Maybe for you, it's a pattern of drinking every night, eating your emotions, or doom scrolling on Instagram. I've experienced pretty much all of them, so I get it. We usually see these patterns and judge ourselves. But when you invite in curiosity, you may discover your inner child and the parts of you that are stuck in survival mode. We blame, shame, and judge the parts of ourselves that need our own love the most. Self love isn't about trying to fix what you don't like about yourself. It's about loving, accepting, and supporting all of yourself. Here's a question you can ask yourself if you aren't sure what to do next. What would someone who loves themselves do? Then take that action. Now, there's another step to this relationship with yourself thing. It's actually important in any relationship. It's the F word. Probably not the F word you're thinking of, but I like how your mind works. That's important too, but that's a different conversation. This F word is forgiveness. The person you usually need to forgive the most is yourself. Forgiveness sets you free. It liberates you from choices and actions from the past. You can't change the past, but you can change your relationship to it. This is the power of forgiveness. It creates a new perspective of what happened. Here's something you can try. Set the intention that you are willing to forgive yourself. Then write a letter to a past version of yourself. I've written letters to the girl who married the man with all the red flags and tolerated so much less than she deserved for so long, and the version of myself who abused her body trying to hide from the pain. Express whatever you're holding on to, the resentment, the disappointment, the anger, the pain. Get it all out. You cannot forgive over suppressed emotions. You need to feel the feelings to release and let go of what you're holding on to. And then something funny happens. You create the space to feel compassion for yourself. And through forgiveness, you start to see that every experience was necessary. for you to learn the lessons that brought you here. And this leads to the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Get radically honest about yourself and your life, because here's the thing: what you aren't changing, you're choosing. What you are not changing, you are choosing. You are the common denominator in your life, which means you have the power to choose your change. But there's a trap door that you need to be aware of. You can't blame and shame yourself into change. Trust me, I tried. But you can love yourself into evolution. I'm living the prayers of every past version of myself, the version of me in a domestic violence support group, the version of me snorting Adderall, the me with massive anxiety and PTSD, all because I chose to own my shit, heal with compassion, and forgive myself. Radical responsibility is what allows you to make changes in your life, because it's never too late to make a change, but it's always too soon to settle. Mm. Thank you for witnessing my journey, my story, some of the lessons that I've learned. My deepest prayer is for you to live the life that you're meant to live and to become who you're meant to be. And transformation is not about becoming somebody else. Healing is not about becoming the most perfect version of you. It's about becoming the most authentic and true version of you. It's about becoming who you already are. It's about remembering your truth before life told you who you should be. And this takes a lot of courage, but it's the most beautiful journey that you'll ever go on. And you truly transform your life by transforming the relationship with yourself. So often we're trying to change the external. We want other people to change. We want this to change. If only this was different, then we would feel different. But really, when we use self love to reach that place of compassion within ourselves and we start to transform the relationship with ourselves, that's when life transforms. So I'm sending you so much love, and send me a message on Instagram. I am Cal. I would love to know how my story resonated with you, what you're navigating, what you're moving through. And I'm celebrating you and cheering you on.
All right. You can transform your life by transforming the relationship with yourself. Boom. Now, I did see Cheryl put in the chat about if you've never loved yourself, how do you know what someone who loves themselves would do? If it were me, I would say, how do you treat someone that you love? Maybe you don't know what someone who loves themselves would do, but you do know how you would treat someone that you love. So, what could you do for you that you would do for someone else that you love? Something to think about for sure. Um, Now, tell me in the chat what nuggets. This was such a powerful, powerful story. What nuggets did you hear in this? And there's probably so many, but one off the top of your head, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much, Kel, for this talk. I am Cal. Is Kel's Instagram handle, if that's where you can reach out to her from. I really thought about how abusive my relationship with me has been through my life, and how often do I not just criticize myself, but berate myself. I would never say those things to anyone else or abuse myself with food that I've done that regularly in my life and put myself in situations like hanging out with people that I know are going to trigger me. Those are all my choices. I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm choosing differently today. My new personal prompt is going to be, is this loving me? I'd love to hear if anyone else has a personal prompt or a question or a mantra that they use to remind themselves. And let me know in the chat for sure. Kel or Kel Karuna is gifting you a journaling guide to create clarity and get unstuck. This will be in the replay that you get today. This guide is designed to help you gain deep clarity on where you are, where you desire to be, and what's keeping you stuck. Through intentional prompts and reflections, you uncover hidden blocks, reconnect with inner wisdom, and identify aligned action steps to move forward with confidence and purpose. Make sure that you're registered so that you can get access to this later today. If you are watching this you stumbled upon it on YouTube, get registered at stressfreemethod.com/summit. And if you are on YouTube, hit a like or subscribe so that you can hang out with us a little bit more. Okay, our next speaker. Let's play a game. Let's play two truths and a lie about our next speaker, who is Cheryl. So I'm going to lay out 3 statements, and after our chat, we'll get your guesses on which was the lie. So statement number 1, or A, Cheryl used to flip houses. She would buy them, fix them, and resell them. B, Cheryl enjoys road trips. Or C, Cheryl is a hockey mom. Okay, so let's say those again just so that you can keep them in your mind. Write them down in your notebook so that you don't forget while we're listening to what she has to say. Cheryl used to flip houses, that's A. Cheryl enjoys road trips is B. And Cheryl is a hockey mom, that's C. Okay, so keep them in mind, write them down, and then we will share what we think is the lie at the end. When I first talked to Cheryl about the summit, I was thinking about those of us who are entrepreneurs. I was thinking contracts, negotiations, etc. But as we were talking, I realized that legal services is not just for entrepreneurs, but for us regular folk too. For example, have you thought about writing or revisiting your will? Have you ever received a traffic ticket and wondered how to fight it? Have you ever signed a contract? Especially one that you didn't understand, or maybe even you regretted it later. Have you had an insurance claim denied that you thought was covered? Have you bought a defective product and then wondered where your rights were? The wealthy few can afford to keep a lawyer in their back pocket. Did you know that you can too? Cheryl Scott helps small businesses and families to access legal services by making it simpler, easier, and more affordable. With a cultural studies degree, some unrelated postgraduate education, 12 years in advertising, and over 15 years as a career coach, Cheryl is uniquely unqualified in the field of law. She's on a mission to protect and empower as many people and small businesses as possible. So listen into our conversation. Take it away. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thanks for having me.
There is so much that I can't wait to talk to you about. And the first one that I'm going to start with is, why is it important to have an up-to-date document like for estates, even if you don't think that you have an estate? Because I'm not really sure I do.
That is an excellent question. And you're not alone. Lots of people when we think of estates, we tend to think of lots of property and jewels and cars and fancy, what wealthy people have. Well, that's just not the case. I mean, our estate is anything we have, whether it's, that lovely china figurine that your grandmother left you, or, it could literally be anything. But those estate documents also have to do with what's going to happen to your stuff. And your stuff can also include your debts. But also the more important things like the children and the pets. I mean, if you're not around or just not able to speak for yourself. I mean, most people know what a will is. It's what happens to our stuff when we die. But what about if you're not dead? You're in a coma, you're stranded out of the country. Like, there could be lots of other reasons why somebody else might need to manage your affairs, whether it be healthcare or property, and when we say property, we just mean stuff, in your absence. And, I can tell you, our family has had way too many family and friends funerals in the last year. And I've seen what happens when you have them and when you don't. And trust me, things go way smoother when you've got things in order. For example, when my mom was in the hospital, the doctor came to my sister and I and said, "Hey, it's time to make some decisions." And we said, "No decisions to be made. Our mom's got it all in writing." We pulled out her power of attorney and it was all detailed right there, what she did and what she did not want to happen as far as her health care. It took so much weight off of our shoulders. It didn't make it any emotionally easier, but really we were just the messenger. We didn't have to make a decision, which is good because my sister and I agree on nothing ever. She would say the same thing. I mean, one of us would have been resentful. One of us would have felt guilty. Look, it wouldn't be pretty. So, and who knows where we'd be today. So it made it that much simpler. Maybe not easier, but simpler. So no, it is so, so important because you don't even know what you might have that you need to worry about. And if you own a business, well, heck, you might even need two wills. And so you've got to be talking with your attorney. Absolutely. Put it in place. Despite what you might think, we are not going to live forever. And talking about it is not going to make it happen any faster or any slower. So don't even worry about that. I'm a firm believer in Murphy's Law. Take the umbrella and it won't rain. Get your powers of attorney in place. Living will, they have different names in different places, but really it's what happens to you if you can't speak for yourself. Put those in place and you may never even need them. Now we're all going to need our will, but hopefully not for a really, really, really long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that makes so much sense. And the thing with that is, though, a lot of times we don't think about what we might need from a lawyer until we actually need it. Is there a
Right.
way that we can use legal services proactively and not just reactively?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sometimes, especially business owners, but really anybody, getting questions answered, just consulting on something. Because, okay, yeah, we can ask Google, but Google does not have a law degree. And let's face it, you get 6,000 answers. And how do you know if they're up to date and correct for your state, province, municipality, whatever? I mean, there's just too much. I don't have time to wade through that. Do you? That's just insanity. So better to ask, it's way faster to pick up the phone, speak to an attorney and just say, "Hey, I have a question about," and get an answer that you know is right. If it turns out it's not even a legal question, they'll tell you who to call. Maybe it's your accountant, maybe it's your city representative, who knows? But they can point you in the right direction and or give you the right answer. So you've got peace of mind. But it's also getting contracts and documents reviewed before you sign them. Do you have a way out if you want one later? What does it really mean? I mean, we should not be signing anything without reading it and definitely not without understanding it. Well, let's face it, a lot of those contracts are written by lawyers and they're in legalese. And I mean, if nothing else, they're going to put you to sleep, even if you don't understand it. So way simpler to send it to a lawyer, an attorney, and say, "Here, give me the Coles Notes version and let me know if there's any red flags." I had a friend way back in university, got what he thought was his dream job right out of school, took a job with a big corporation, I won't name names, but signed a non-competition agreement along with his employment contract. I don't know if he read it, but 20 years later, he gets headhunted by another employer. He's all excited, only to find out he can't accept the job because of that non-compete. It was incredibly limiting. Now, similar scenario, back in my first career in advertising, I got headhunted for a job. Well, I paid a few $100s because I didn't know about a service called Legal Shield back then. Paid a few $100, had a lawyer review it. They said, "You know what? This will not hold water in court because of what it says, because of your unique situation. They can't do anything about it. Go ahead and accept the job." Seemingly similar situations, But when you get into the little nuances, the wording in the contracts, the situations of the people, completely different. Would never have known had we not spoken to legal. So it can make a huge difference. And if you think you don't sign contracts, if you've got a cell phone, you've signed a contract. If you've bought or leased a vehicle, you've signed a contract. Even if you didn't physically sign it, you've agreed to it, right? If you've got internet, you've got any sort of subscription service, you've technically agreed to a contract. Did you read it? Did you understand it? What if you want out of it? So those are a couple simple everyday reasons why we might want to use lawyers proactively. And yes, it can mean the difference, perhaps, between having to use lawyers for big, scary things later on, right? Having prenuptial agreements doesn't just happen in the movies, it happens in real life. There is also such a thing as a postnuptial agreement. And the same is also true if you go into business partnership with somebody, putting things in writing. What happens if they go awry later? Somebody wants out of the marriage or out of the partnership. Well, if you've already put it in writing as to how you're going to handle that, way simpler, and it may in fact preserve a friendship that might otherwise get destroyed. Right? We don't think about these things going into it, especially marriage. I mean, you're in the honeymoon stage. Of course, it's going to last forever and be amazing. Hopefully it does. But what if? What if stuff changes, people change, circumstances change, and it can really, really help to go into things with eyes wide open, make sure everybody's on the same page. And how often have we had conversations with somebody and it's like, well, wait a minute, I thought this. Well, I thought that. Most of the time, not a big deal, but sometimes it can have catastrophic consequences. And yeah, don't wait. I mean, legal things don't go away and they typically don't shrink. They just get bigger. And if that's when you wait and call the lawyer or the attorney, it's going to cost you a whole heck of a lot more than if you were proactive, and maybe you won't ever need the lawyers for the big scary stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. And I really like the idea of taking this to some professional who can look through it and say, hey, what didn't I see here? Or what am I not thinking about that you might see in here? Right?
Right.
What are the
And
pitfalls?
absolutely. And back to the estate documents. Yes, there's online things. There's will kits you can go get from Office Depot. And if you've got a really simple estate, let's say you are single, one kid, leaving everything to the one kid, and you've barely got any other relatives. Pretty simple. That might suffice. However, most of us aren't in that position. Death and money bring out personalities in people that we didn't know existed. And sometimes it'll bring out relatives we didn't know existed, which is a whole other ballgame. But lawyers can help with that too. And, you know, the other thing is that will kit or that online fill in the blank thing is not going to say, oh, that's great. You want your sister as the executor. What if your sister's not available or not willing to do it at that point in time? Who's your backup? I would never think of assigning a backup. You know, what if you can't decide who to have as an executor or a power of attorney? Well, did you know you can actually hire people to do that? It doesn't have to be a relative. It doesn't even have to be anybody you know. You can hire a professional if you want to take all the emotion out of it. Yeah, they have to be paid, but let's face it, they'll be paid out of your estate. So no big deal, really. And your loved ones can just get on with grieving and not have to worry about it, because it is a process and it's quite honestly a pain in the neck. I'm going through it right now. You know, the lawyers are thankfully making it easier, but it's still a pain in the neck and taking up time.
Absolutely.
Right? The time that I don't have to put in to my business now because I've got to be doing all of that. And I hate numbers. Yuck. So yeah, it is what it is. One little piece of advice on estate stuff. When you're thinking of who to pick for an executor and or powers of attorney, and they could be several different people, Pick one for each role. Don't do, I'm just going to make all my kids equal. No, that just leads to fighting and emotion. Don't do it. Pick one. And pick somebody that's going to honor your wishes, whether they agree with them or not. So if you say, absolutely not, I do not want dialysis, I do not want life support, don't pick the person that, can't even bandage a little cut because they're too emotional. No, 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 no. And, the opposite as well. If they don't believe in those sorts of things, and, my husband and I can't be each other's executor. We've got totally different philosophies on this. If there is any sign of life, you do everything and everything. He's the exact opposite. So yeah, pick someone that's going to honor your wishes, whether they agree with them or not.
That's a fabulous tip, and definitely something that you should bring forward. I know when we started talking about our wills, the lawyer brought up to us what happens if we have a fairly small family. So, what happens if you're on a family vacation and your entire line is wiped out? Then what?
Good question. Yeah. I
'Cause-
mean, heaven forbid, but what if?
exactly.
And it's fine to say, oh, my sister, has agreed to look after our babies if anything happens. Well, what if nothing happens until they're teenagers and your sister's now living in another state or province? How cool are your teenagers going to be with moving to another state or province? Not so simple as it was when they were infants. Yeah, so many things to consider. And so not only do you need to have those documents, you got to keep them up to date. Absolutely.
So, how often do you think that a person should be updating I guess it depends on the document.
Well, it depends on the document and if there's been some, what ifs included in there. But I would say whenever life happens, when you get married, when you get divorced, when you have kids, when you're adopting kids, when your families become blended and there's now, step kids, and if you've got multiple exes, and if you want anything that's not logical, we think most people are going to leave things to our family. Probably our spouse and then our children, right? That's kind of normal. But what if? What if that's not the case? Maybe someone doesn't like their family and they want to leave everything to a herd of cats. That is totally in their right, but they better as heck put it in writing, because no judge is ever going to guess at that. If you want to leave it to charity, you've got to put some really, there's a whole process. Let's just say it that way, because there's also tax implications if somebody's now inheriting. What if you are leaving it to your child is disabled, they're getting some government assistance, suddenly they get a big inheritance, that can affect that government assistance. There may be things that you can put in place, wording that you can use to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Excellent.
All
point.
these little things. And yeah, attorneys are going to think of them. A wheel kit or an online fillable form is not.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's wonderful advice. But now you've got me thinking about all these different things. So it makes me wonder, what are some surprising examples of situations where a lawyer can help?
Ooh, I've got so many examples. I'll give you a couple. One, my husband and I lived in a city. We got notified they were going to do street repairs, and they said, well, we're starting when school ends and we're going to be done before school finishes, because there was an elementary school right in the middle. Great. They said, for half the summer, you're going to go this way, and half the summer, you're going to go that way. Little inconvenience. Thanks for letting us know. And it was pretty darned obvious. Big orange cones and digger machines. Okay, can't go that way. We'll go the other way. Fine and dandy. We are 2 weeks away from school opening, so well past halfway through the summer. Cones are still there. Try to go the other way. There's the big digger machine. No flag person to get them out of the way. Our entire neighborhood couldn't get home. I called the person's name on the lovely letter, and they said, sorry, ma'am, it's not supposed to be that way. I'm thinking, well, great. They didn't know. They're going to fix it. Yeah. 3 days in a row. Finally, out of frustration, because I'm clearly not talking to the right person, I called the law firm and said, this isn't a legal question, but I don't know who to call. Here's what's happened. Should I call the city, the region, the province, or the construction company? They said, oh, no. It's okay with you. We'll write a letter on your behalf. Great, please do. They had me look at the letter before they sent it. Guess what? Next day, proper signs are up. There's caution tape. There's flag people on the digger machine. And the whole job, we're kind of halfway through at this point because they hadn't finished part A and they'd started part B. And we're at least 8 weeks in. The whole job done in 2 weeks. And my first thought was, well, why didn't my call have that effect? And then I thought, no, this is now I see why wealthy people keep a lawyer in their back pocket, right? You or I complain about something, it goes to the complaints department or customer service. But they get a phone call or a letter from a prestigious law firm, it goes to the legal department and they're like, this is ridiculous. We can't let this escalate. And they call whoever they need to and say, fix it. And it happens. So, I mean, it can be trivial. It can be traumatic. Friend of mine was shopping for a dress to go to her daughter's wedding. We'd been, I swear, in every store in the city. Finally, we find a beautiful dress. It's on a 50% off rack. Hallelujah. We get up to the cash and they're like, oh, this isn't 50% off. It's been prior reduced and that's not part of the sale. Well, the tag doesn't indicate it's been prior reduced, and the sign didn't say anything about any exclusions. Where's the manager? Oh, I'll get them. Well, while they were getting the manager, we tapped our app. We got on the phone with a lawyer. They said, nope, they have to honor that. Clearly, the manager also understood that, because otherwise it's false advertising, and she got her dress at half off. Would you normally call an attorney over, what was it, like $70? Probably not. But that $70 was the difference between her getting the dress and not.
Yeah, you would expect that you would end up paying more on legal fees than the $70, but I guess with this system, that's not necessarily the way it goes. So are you a
Well,
lawyer?
no, I do not have patience for that kind of schooling. Absolutely not. But a friend of mine told me about a service a few years ago now called Legal Shield. And the best way I can describe it, if the listeners are familiar with CAA or AAA for roadside assistance, right? Everybody pays a small monthly membership fee. Maybe there's an entire parking lot out there. They've all got it. They're not all going to use it on the same day. Okay, well, maybe here in Canada during a snowstorm, but for the most part, all their members aren't going to use it. That's how they make it affordable. Well, Legal Shield does the same thing. We've got roughly 4.5 million members, all paying a small monthly membership fee, either personally or business. And part of that money goes to put law firms in every state and province on retainer. So just like the wealthy few can afford to keep a lawyer in their back pocket, so can we. We don't have to do anything without consulting with our lawyer. We don't have to sign anything without an attorney looking at it. Like, it is such huge peace of mind. It is phenomenal. I mean, just today I called the law firm. I'm trying to get access to my mom's Canada Revenue account online, and I needed to pick some kind of trust account, and there was 3 options, and I didn't understand what they meant, and it was just great. It was way faster for me to pick up the phone and say, hey, which one do I pick? Done, like 5 minutes. Like it's crazy. So I mean, if you can afford to have attorneys, great. If you've got attorneys and lawyers in the family, phenomenal. Make sure they stay on your good, or you stay on their good side. But use those services proactively. It saves so much time, stress, and money in the long run. I can't even tell you, like, yeah, it just makes sense. And if you can't afford lawyers, because let's face it, they're expensive. No, not that they're not worth it. They are. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle what they do. It's so worth it. And they have to pay for all that schooling somehow. But if you can't afford them, then join the collective buying power of a legal service like Legal Shield. It makes sense.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. And I can see how with the CAA or AAA, so that means it's available in the US and Canada?
Yes, the US and most of Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not in Quebec and the Maritimes at this point in time. Quebec just has a whole different system of law. They're just different. That's the summary. And in the Maritimes, we have not found a law firm that is big enough because they have to have at least one lawyer that specializes in every area of law. We don't want a jack of all trades. If you're calling about a traffic issue, we want you to talk to a traffic lawyer. If you're calling about a divorce, you really need to talk to a family lawyer. If it's an estate, well, you need an estate lawyer. If it's business, it's got to be a business lawyer and so on, right? Taxes, tax lawyer. So we've not yet found law firms big enough or to our standards because they've also got to be good enough.
Right.
And that's a tall order to meet. So we're working on it. But yeah, right now it's all of the US and most of Canada. Ontario West, if any of the listeners are wondering.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and it's nice to know that there is a standard that people are looking for. You're not just accepting anyone that would be then passed on to whoever the client is.
No, absolutely. And that's one of the other perks of Legal Shield is we have service standards. We don't own the law firms. They're not employed by us. They're under contract to us. So for instance, if they're writing somebody's will, once they have all the information, they have 10 days to get them a first draft. We have emergency access through our app. So if you're in a car accident and there could be injuries and it's 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve, you can tap the app and be on the phone with a lawyer in minutes. Now, it's going to be whoever's on call, not in your state or province, but they're going to be able to give you enough assistance to get you through to the next business day. Right? If your ex isn't returning your children according to your custody agreement, what the heck are you supposed to do? You don't want to call the police. You may or may not want to get Children and Family Services involved. Well, what are you supposed to do? And I've actually got another great example of probably one of the most powerful stories ever. Young lady, divorced mom, 3 kids, 1 kid with some health issues, asthma, and some other controlled things. Right when when COVID started. So a few weeks in, when pretty much the world was locked down, and certainly here in Ontario, we were totally locked down. And the courts were saying, we're not hearing any temporary custody issues. We get it. You don't want to shuffle your kids back and forth during a pandemic, but let's face it, we can't deal with it all. So new ones, yes. If you've already got an agreement, you got to abide by it. Well, kids were supposed to go to dad's for Easter weekend. She drops them off Thursday night. She gets a call on Good Friday, midday, from her middle child. Mommy, I'm really scared. Daddy wants to take us to a party and I don't want to get sick. She's absolutely, you should not go. I'll deal with it. Her first thought was, well, I'll just go pick them up. Thankfully, she tapped her app, got on the phone with a lawyer. So what do I do? And they said, don't go pick them up. That would violate your agreement. And technically your ex could have you arrested. Get a hold of the ex, make it very clear he is not to take those children to any group functions. And if he does, you will have him arrested. Needless to say, they didn't go to the party. They come home Sunday night, typical, how was the weekend? Did the Easter Bunny come? Yada, yada. And the one child says, oh, it was great, but my arm hurts. Why does your arm hurt? Well, Daddy's girlfriend was really mad we didn't go to the party and she twisted it. She got back on the phone with a lawyer Easter Sunday night. And by Wednesday, they were not in court, but on court, having that custody agreement reviewed.
Wow.
And I don't care I don't care how big your retainer is. If your attorney is not your brother or your sister or your mother, you're probably not talking to them on Good Friday, Easter Sunday night, or 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, that's
Powerful.
amazing. That's quite a story for sure.
Yeah.
Now, having spoken with you like this, I can see the passion that you have for this, but I still kind of wonder, why do you do what you do?
I love to help people. So my first career was advertising. I helped employers hire. I did help wanted ads. My second career was career coaching, and I helped students figure out what they wanted to do with their lives and unemployed adults get new jobs. Well, now I get to help people in way more ways. And it's just, I love the happy ending stories. Yeah, it's sometimes hard to hear the initial stories of their challenges, but then I hear those happy endings. And I feel like, the Grinch that stole Christmas, my heart just is ready to explode.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely can see the passion that you have for this, like I said. And so that's just phenomenal that you're able to help people like this all the time. And I
Yeah,
kind of wonder, what else is different with Legal Shield than what we're used to seeing or have seen on TV or in movies? Because that a lot of times is our only reference.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, thankfully, a lot of us don't need lawyers and attorneys on a daily basis until we do. But yeah, I mean, our lawyers and attorneys all across both countries still do the legal stuff the way they've always done it. But that's their only focus. They don't have to go get clients because we bring them the clients. They don't get paid by the hour, so they don't have to keep track of billable line items, and we pay them well to look after our members well. And let's face it, most lawyers, I can't speak for all, but most lawyers and attorneys got into that field to help people. And they obviously like lots of school. So, I mean, good for them. So that's maybe one difference, and it's their whole mandate is treat the members well, do what's in their best interests. And what's in their best interest 99.9% of the time is avoid court whenever possible. They do not have to drag things out because they're getting paid by the hour. They don't get paid that way. They also don't need to rush, unless they're crazy busy and have to go off to court. But, most of the time they can take the time to ask about all the little bits of stories, all the little bits of estates, and make sure that they're doing whatever's in the member's best interest, which is amazing. The fact that we have the 24/7 emergency service also sets us apart for sure. And the fact that it's affordable and we make it simple. You can pick up the phone, you can put in a written request, like however works for you. And then the lawyers have service standards to follow. So they have to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours initially, right? Once they've done their research, they have to get back to you in relatively speedy manner. If they're reviewing a contract, 3 business days. It's just a world of difference, and is everything included in our membership? No. Let's be honest. Criminal charges, nasty custodies and divorces, if you're duking it out in court over something, those things and a few others will cost extra, but you get a 25% discount. And if you know what lawyers charge, that 25% is substantial. The only other exception in some states and provinces, finalizing a real estate deal. That's going to cost you extra. There will be some discount. The discount varies. And I'm not even going to get into all of that, but get in touch with your local Legal Shield rep. If there isn't one, reach out to me. I'm happy to just let you know what's available. Because it is so empowering is probably the best word.
That's so wonderful, Cheryl. Thank you so much for enlightening us a little bit about the type of legal services that we didn't even know we needed. So this has been fantastic for real. And I just wonder if there's anywhere that we can direct people to, because I assume that people are going to have questions and I have no idea what to do, but I do have your contact information that I will put in an email to anyone who's registered for
Perfect.
this event. But if you could please let them know in case they are listening to this on the go and they would like to contact you right away?
Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to get in touch with me is LinkedIn. I'm on there all the time. I believe my what do they call it? A handle, username, whatever. Cheryl Scott 15, and it's Cheryl with an S. Yeah, on Instagram, it's Cheryl, your legal shield lady.
Okay.
But LinkedIn is I'm on there all the time. So that's probably one of the easiest ways. Yeah. Yeah. Super, super simple. I'm always happy to answer questions. Just let you know what's available, and then you can decide, does it make sense for you or not? But let's face it, women are not immune. Everybody has legal stuff in their life. Maybe you're thinking about a separation or divorce. You got to know all the pros, cons, ins, outs, consequences if you choose to move forward, and how the heck do you even do that? Make sure you get the information so you can make an educated decision and know what you're getting yourself into. And that's just one example. If you don't know your rights, you might as well not have any. Landlords, tenants, consumers, drivers, we've all got rights, but what the heck are they?
So much goodness.
Pays
So
to
much.
know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. We could chat all day, trust me. But yeah, if people want to reach out, I am happy to answer questions and provide more information.
How wonderful. Okay, excellent. So everyone's heard that. You can reach out to Cheryl at any time, and she can either hook you up herself or link you up with somebody in your province or state that can help take care of you. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Cheryl. Have a wonderful day.
Appreciate it. Look forward to the rest of the summit. Thanks.
Okay. What do you guys all think? Which is the lie? A, Cheryl used to flip houses. B, Cheryl enjoys road trips. Or C, Cheryl is a hockey mom. I will just throw those options in the chat here so that you guys can let me know. And I really want to see if you guys get this, because I was very surprised when I did this with Cheryl. So while you put in your answers, I want to thank Cheryl for letting us know about this service. If you've got this in your back pocket, it is so easy to ask and find out if this is something to worry about or not. Make sure that you reach out to Cheryl. Don't worry, I'll send the contact information. It is all in the replay stuff. And you know what? It just can't hurt to ask. And as I'm seeing in the chat here, it looks like a few of the people who are watching have already used Cheryl's services. So, I mean, it's worth asking the question. Leaning back into what we talked about yesterday with the health advocacy, this is just your own self advocacy, right? Finding out and making an informed decision. Okay, Cheryl, which is the lie? I've got to know before we go on break. So if you're hearing this, Cheryl, before we go on break, please put it in there and let me see if there are any guesses. It looks like someone is thinking that it is B, that Cheryl enjoys road trips is the lie. So this is interesting. So do I reveal it for you, Cheryl? I don't know. I know that there's a bit of a lag, and I'm not sure how far behind in here that you are. So I'm just waiting to see what else people are putting in. Ooh, A, okay. Joyce thinks it's that Cheryl used to flip houses is the lie. Do I tell them? Cheryl, are you there to tell them? I know that you're listening in. Oh, there you go. C is the lie, that they billeted junior hockey players but never actually had kids of their own. So she kind of was a hockey mom, but in a by proxy kind of way. So that's a bit of a stretched truth. Wonderful. Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break here. Go refill your drink, tend to your needs, and we'll meet back here in 10 minutes for our next speaker. The chat will stay live, so if you want to talk more about what's coming up for you right now, let's go. I'm here for that, and I'm sure that the other coaches that are watching on here are open to any questions, either about the things that we talked about yesterday or today. So thank you all, and have a great break. I'll see you in 10. All right. I'm back. And let's see how you're all feeling now. Let's put an emoji in the chat to let me know how things are going. Mine might be the awe one. You know, the one with the mouth open and speechless? Okay, well, maybe not speechless. Although, I don't know if you noticed when I was talking to Cheryl, some of the times when she was telling me some of the things that people had gone through, I really was like, I was just like scrambling to think of another question or something because it just blew me away. Some of the things that people have done or needed help with. Unbelievable. Same with the powerful conversation that was, or the powerful story that Cal shared earlier. There's some really big, deep things in there for sure. Well, we've already covered so much and we're not slowing down. Our next expert is known as the Pink Lady. Maria Kay brings a unique blend of power, warmth, and wisdom to the world of intimacy, love, and relationship coaching. Once a powerhouse in banking and product management in ATB Financial, Maria took a leap of faith to follow her true calling, helping people turn their everyday relationships into extraordinary journeys of joy and connection. She's on a mission to invite more laughter, ease, and self-discovery into her clients' lives, guiding singles and couples alike to embrace their own stories with empathy and confidence. Maria shares creates a safe, non-judgmental space where clients can open up, let go of insecurities, and explore their desires and needs with kindness. Her approach is all about celebrating authenticity, effective communication, and continuous growth while respecting every individual's unique path and preferences. She's known for her gentle humor, unwavering support, and deep expertise. Maria is a trusted companion on the path to richer, more fulfilling relationships and a deeper sense of self-love and joy. She is bringing her wealth of knowledge to the longevity space. Longevity has become a highly sought after topic in the health and biohacking circles. Who knew that there was a link between relationships and longevity? I don't want to wait any longer, so I'm going to let Maria tell us all about it. Maria, take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maria. I am a relationship coach. I help people build healthier, deeper, and more fulfilling connections in their personal and their romantic lives. When we think about living longer and healthier lives, what comes to mind? Usually people would say, well, sleep, exercise, it is nutrition. Those are the things we're constantly told to focus on. These are the things also that are easy to measure. We are monitoring our heart rate. We are counting our calories. We count our steps. These are all the things that are absolutely important and impact our lifespan. However, there is one single element that is a key determinant of our lifespan, and that is the stress that we endure throughout our lives. And relationships is that element that actually sits on top of all of that, that we can easily measure, all of those physical things that we monitor. And amazing relationships can be a great stress reliever and extend our lifespan. Poor relationships detract from our lifespan, and the count is in years. So we often don't prioritize our relationships. We don't perceive relationships as being the main determinant in our longevity. And so today I invite you to shift that perspective in terms of how our relationships affect our emotional, mental, and physical state. So let's dive into what the research is saying, and let's discuss practical ways how you can cultivate deeper relationships. So why relationships is the key to a long life? Have you heard of the Harvard study of adult development? It is one of the longest running studies on human life and happiness. Researchers were following hundreds of people for over 80 years and researching their life, discovering what truly matters in living a happy life and a long and healthy one. And what the conclusion is, the quality of our relationships is the strongest predictor of our longevity. Not money, not fame, not even physical health. People who had deep, meaningful relationships lived longer and were healthier than those that were socially isolated or in toxic relationships. Why? When we have loving, supporting relationships, we feel safe, and that's buffering us from the stress. And the stress is the biggest threat to our health. When we feel safe, our immune system functions better, our heart functions better. We are not in this constant fight or flight mode. Now, on the other hand, chronic loneliness and toxic relationships trigger prolonged stresses. And when our system is in the stress response, we have higher blood pressure, we have weaker immune system. There's increased risk of heart disease, stroke, even dementia. And so loneliness, in fact, was found to be just as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I know, right? Now, the hidden cost of loneliness and emotional isolation. And loneliness is really not about being alone. You can be married and feeling lonely. You can be in a room full of people and feel lonely. Loneliness is about a lack of emotional connection, the deep, authentic connection. And in today's world, emotional isolation is increasing. We live in the age of social media overuse. Like you're sitting in front of your screen and you're monitoring other people. You're actually comparing your inner world with their outer world. Totally different things. We are constantly busy. We're overworked. We're burnt out. We substitute social connections with productivity. We prioritize our productivity over social connection. So we end up with superficial relationships where we hesitate to show vulnerability and ask for support. But here's the truth. We are wired for connection. Human beings are not meant to do life alone. And so the good news, loneliness is fixable. We must actively cultivate deep, meaningful relationships and not just wait for them to happen on their own. And for that, I want to bring your attention now to what is just bare minimum. And the bare minimum, through multiple of research studies, again, what has been shown is that all you need for material impact to your longevity is to have one or two friends, really one or two. That's enough. Now, they are the ones that you cook the meal when they're sick. They're the ones that cook meal for you when you're sick. They're picking you from the airport. You're picking them from the airport. You can call them at 2 a.m. in the morning. They can call you at 2 a.m. in the morning. And you will be there for them with no judgment, listening to what's happening. And that is more valuable than dozens of just superficial acquaintances. And so, yeah, in the moments of stress or grief or hardship, that's what matters. And it's not the number of friends, it's whether you have that one person that you can get to listen to you and who will support you with no judgment and at any time of day and night. And just as we seek these kinds of friendships, we must also become that kind of friend for others. Now we are coming to another point here. What's important is self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of healthy relationships. One of the biggest obstacles in relationships is our own subconscious patterns that we are not even aware of. We all have triggers, wounds, unhealed past that affect us now, how we are showing up in today's world. And things like, for example, do you notice you push people away just as they get a little bit too close, emotionally, mentally? Do you express your needs and emotions in a way that people have to read between the lines? You struggle to express them directly. Maybe you have noticed that you repeat patterns in your relationships, in your dating life. And that is where the self-awareness comes to play. Really understanding and knowing yourself. Oh, okay, I know this about myself. This is the first step to actually transform and deepen your relationships and bring in your life those types of people that you can be really close with and feel safe and feel connected and feel like you're not just observer of your life, but you're actually doing life. You're participating in it. You're building your life, and you can choose differently when you're aware of what's my default reaction. And the moment that happens, you give yourself that extra breath before you react. You can develop even further your mindfulness and self-reflection. There are many different ways, and I'm big advocate of meditation. I'm big advocate of spending time with yourself. However, meditation doesn't mean sitting on a cushion cross-legged for an hour. No, it can be as simple as walking in nature, sitting quietly with a cup of tea on a sofa, journaling about your thoughts and emotions, putting them out on the paper, taking a deep breath before reacting in a conversation. That is all parts of self-awareness, self-reflection, being with yourself for even a few seconds. That is part of meditation. And that is where you pause, reflect, and realize what you are in that moment. And when we slow down, we become more aware, and we listen better, and we communicate more openly, and we respond with love instead of reactivity. And so with that, I invite you also to think about, where do you create opportunities for yourself to slow down and reflect? And it can be sort of a Zen retreat, maybe twice a year, go away for a weekend and dedicate that time to zone yourself out from the busyness of every day. But it doesn't have to be. If it doesn't fit with your schedule, it can be just 1 or 2 or 3 days, once a year. The goal is to really step away from distractions of your life and reconnect with yourself. When we take time for self-reflection, we return to our relationships renewed with deep clarity. If you can't do a full retreat, even setting aside a few hours a month for that time with yourself can be life-changing. And next is how to navigate conflict and strengthen your relationships that you currently have, or new ones. All relationships have challenges. And the key is not to avoid conflict, but to learn how to navigate it with love and awareness. You can be nice to each other all day long. You can be married and be nice to each other and never argue. But the end result is, if you don't know who they are to the very core, if they don't know who you are, you withhold thoughts, you withhold even actions, you withhold your opinions. They don't know who you are. You're living with a person who doesn't know who you are. Same thing with you. if you're okay with living with a person who probably has something in the back of their mind, but they don't tell you everything, that's what I'm talking about. And there's 3 powerful strategies to deepen your relationships, to take that step towards being closer with each other. And first of all, any high active conflict, number 1, do not react. Take a deep breath. Give yourself time to respond with thoughtfulness and awareness rather than out of the place of emotion. Communicate openly and honestly. And you can share how you feel and what you think, and just making sure that you are not in a position of a blame to the other person, to your partner, to your friend, but you really truly want to understand why do they think that way, and softening your voice. Even at time when you're like, I don't understand why you think this way. Take a deep breath and say, I am having a hard time right now. My emotions are overpowering. I will try my best to keep my voice soft, and so I can truly understand where you're coming from. And apologize and repair quickly. If you got out of your element, you raised your voice, you said things you regret, quickly repair. Say sorry. Sorry can go a long way. And that's really is important part here. And now in conclusion, I want to say relationships, make it a daily practice. At the end of the day, at the end of our lives, we know multiple studies, multiple research, multiple kind of social experiments that report the same. All of them report the same, that when people at the end of their life reflect on their lives, it's not the bank accounts or job titles or social media followers that they regret or that they think that matter. They all talk about their friends and their family and the love that they were able to give and the love that they were receiving. That's what mattered to them. And that's where they say, I wish I did more. I wish I spent more time with people I loved, talked to them, invest in that in the relationships, be the friend you wish to have, prioritize connection over business, and practice self-awareness, mindful communication, practice taking control over your emotions, over reactivity, because in the end, the quality of your relationships is what will determine how long and how healthy your life will be. So thank you very much. I'm wishing you all the very best. It's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, connect with me on social media. Thank you very much.
forgot to turn the mic on. So I've been talking all of this time. All right. Thank you, everyone. So let's go back to all of the things that I just said. Thank you, Maria. That was very informational. It's easier now to see the link. So I'd like to know, if you did a relationship audit, like, who do you interact with? Considering the question, does my interactions with them shorten or extend my life or stress? It really makes me consider how I might want to change those relationships. I'd like to know if there's anything in there that you might. Can you guys hear me now? I think so, because I saw Tabitha pulled that one back. So I think that means that you can hear me now. So as I was saying, thinking about whether your interactions with these people shorten or extend your life or your stress really makes you think about those relationships and how you want to be in them. So that doesn't mean that you have to cut people out, but really, how do you want to show up for those relationships? And if you need help figuring that out, please contact Maria. She is offering everyone a complimentary virtual coffee connection call where she guarantees to solve one problem or uncertainty in a relationship. I will have everything in your gifts access tonight so that you can do that. So drop a thumbs up emoji if you could use help in some sort of relationship in your life. That might even be a relationship with yourself. And in that case, that is something that you could talk with Maria with, because she does say that every relationship coaching starts with your relationship with yourself. Or that might be a Kel question. So you get to choose, or you can have a coffee date with either of those and find out exactly who resonates most with you that you might want to go forward with. All right, speaker number 4. We are delving into the transformative concept of heart-centered leadership with none other than Sarah Rajkumar. Sarah is the founder of WOMB, Women Owning Their Mind, Body, and Business. As a transition and leadership coach, she specializes in guiding women to lead with love, authenticity, and purpose. Her journey as a first-generation immigrant, single mother, female leader for over 15 years with a Fortune 500 company has had her overcome financial hardships, cultural biases, and gender discrimination. She is a testament to the power of embracing one's true self to drive success. Sarah has emerged as a trailblazer for female leaders, offering more than just coaching. She provides a lifeline for women striving to align their personal and professional lives with their highest versions and purposes. Her holistic approach addresses the mind, body, and business aspects of leadership, empowering women to navigate life's transitions with confidence and clarity, one empowering choice at a time. In our conversation, we explored how leading with love can not only propel your professional life, but also ensure that you don't lose sight of who you are. So listen into our conversation and remember to ask your questions in the chat. Let's take it away. Sarah, it's a pleasure having you with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
So the term heart-centered leadership is gaining momentum, but it might be new to some people. So how would you define heart-centered leadership?
It's a great question, Coach Doris. It is one of my most favorite topic, I would say, and it is so crucial nowadays. So how would I explain heart-centered leadership? I would say heart-centered leadership is all about authenticity, integrity, and deep emotional intelligence, what we usually say emotional intelligence. It's not about being soft or being idealistic. It's about making those courageous, conscious decisions that aligns with your values and that drives the results. So over my 15 years or 20 years careers, I would say actually, I've led through high pressure transformations and corporate teams. And I have achieved a lot of economic growth as well. But one thing, it remains that when you lead with empathy and clarity and vision, people rise to the occasion. Heart center leadership is not something that nice to have. I think it is something that we should have. It's about, but it's not about business being incorporated with numbers. It's about people. So that's where the heart center leadership comes in.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, you mentioned that you've looked at this through a corporate setting as well as an entrepreneur. How does heart-centered leadership look different in each of those places?
That's another great question, because I've been an entrepreneur for almost, actually, I started my entrepreneurship journey when I was 15 years old. So it's been a long way. And also in corporate, I've been in corporate for corporate Canada for almost 20 years, over 20 years. So I see that heart center leadership is very important for both setups, right? Um, Heart-centered leadership starts with actually with you being a leader. What kind of a leader you want to be, whether you're in a corporate setting or having a business, right? Being an entrepreneur. So in corporate settings or in corporate leadership, you're navigating systems, hierarchies, or large teams, which we want to lead with love, right? Meaning fostering more inclusion, the diversity, collaboration, and having that influence. It's all about, I believe, creating the cultures where people feel psychologically safe to contribute, right? We often ignore that, right, in a corporate setting. And as an entrepreneur, heart center leadership is deeply personal, because your business is reflections of your personal values. It's about building that mission-driven brand that you have and making conscious decisions and surrounding yourself with communities and groups that shares your vision as well. And the biggest lesson that I've learned, the culture starts with the leader, as I said, right? Whether in a Fortune 500 company or whether as a startup, your leadership sets the tone that you want to have the vision of.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see how that might travel across the entire business and the entire, even with the clients and things like that. So, as even a small business. Now,
Absolutely.
now leading with love sounds really profound, but some might wonder about its tangible benefits. How does adopting a heart-centered leadership style influence one's success, both personally and professionally?
So great question. So it is leading with love, meaning with leading with your, which is aligned with your values, right? Your leadership aligned with your values, your purpose, and having the clarity and consciousness. It is, you have to be courageous. It is not, when you, if you're not courageous and if you don't have the clarity, it becomes very difficult for you to even navigate what kind of leadership you want to, what kind of leader you want to be, right? So I would say build a culture where it's I know it all as a leader from learn it all. We can always learn. We can always have the growth mindset and being showing empathy, having that empathy, deep listening to your team, to whom you're leading, the organization whom you're leading. It's very important to understand. At the end of the day, it is about people. It's not about the numbers. So I always say, start with you as well. Start within. Um, and see, check in with yourself as at first, and then don't be a reactive leader, be a responsive leader, right? Respond with the clarity, respond to yourself, respond with more empathy. So that's what I would say. And you would see the difference.
So you've spoken a lot about empathy as well as earlier you said that some people see it as soft. And I have heard that too, that leaders might be worried that leading with love is perceived as being soft. How would you balance empathy with accountability?
Oh, I think that is a very, very good question. And that is most of us, the heart center leadership, the leaders, I would say, I think feel that in a high pressure situations. And they don't want to be so we have some kind of a, I would say, an image of a leader. If you are a leader, you have to be fierce, you have to be strong, you have to show up as someone very powerful. When we have that kind of an image in our mind, we cannot incorporate love in that image, right? So that's why we're think, how am I going to incorporate love when I have to be that powerful, when I have to show up as a fierce leader? So love and fierceness could be together. It doesn't have to be separated. So it's not about showing up as a soft leader. It's about showing up as a leader who understands their team, the leader who understands the organization. They're deeply committed. They are listening. They're being so the team or the organizations or the people they're leading, they are being heard, they are being seen, and they are being valued. And you can only aspire being a heart center leader when you also check in with yourself, when you want to ask yourself what kind of a leader I want to be today, or what kind of leader I am. How am I showing up? One of the most practical thing that I have introduced to my teams, and I've seen that it worked wonderfully, is I do a daily check-ins. So every morning when I go, I just check in to see where my team is at, where my organization's at, like depending on where the hierarchy of where you are. So the heart-centered leaders are they are making a decision based from the empathy, um, but instead of taking the challenge of just making a decision from the numbers perspective, we they think about they don't think about how am I going to fix the problem. We think about how am I going to elevate the situation in a way that honors everyone's who's involved in the decision making. So I think that's the difference. And you don't have to show up as a soft leader, but you can be a vulnerable. That's one of the another very important part of being um, a fierce leader as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I can see how the two might get confused, but I can also see, as a parent, you could be empathetic to your children and you can be vulnerable with your children, but still have firm boundaries, still have firm ideals, right? That makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
So, for those who are inspired to lead with love, where should they begin? Do you have any practical steps that someone can take to integrate heart centered leadership into their daily life?
Oh, absolutely. And I, even in my leadership journey, I did not start as being a heart center leader. I did not even know what did that mean at first. I just it was one of my self-reflection when I was asking myself, how do I want to show up today when I'm in this leading position? So another thing I always say that leaders does not be defined as a with a title. Because you have the title, it's not that you're a leader. You can be a leader not even having that title. So again, it starts with you. So anyone who wants to thrive to be in a management position, upper management position, or in the C-suite, and they think that they are aspiring, but they don't know how to start. I would always say start with your heart, start with your intention, start with the clarity, take initiatives, take the lead, because not all of everybody can have the ability to lead and show or guide the path to the others. So I would say, and when you are self-reflecting, um, I would always suggest that start with your reflection. How do you respond when you're answering a question? Are you are you reacting, or are you responding from the clarity, or from your conscious, or from love, right? So start with that. It is very important that you understand the difference between just going with the flow or taking a pause, right? And then reflect on your leadership, on your team, because you are leading people. You're not leading numbers. This is this is one of the key. And then I would always suggest that since leadership starts from within, um, try or practice radical transparency. So when you're in a leading position, you have to make decisions, right? But the decisions, make sure those difficult conversations that you're having, that has the clarity. And when you're actually having that conversation, or making this decision, the others feel again seen, valued, and heard, right? So that inclusiveness is very important. So keep that in mind. And also always leading through service, I would say. So lead with service. Leadership is not about the power. It's about responsibility. When you're a great leader, you're accountable and you're responsible, right? And some of the most transformational moments in my career happened when I asked, how can I serve my team right now, especially during the unprecedented or challenging times? And what do I need from them? That's also another thing, that is, you can't just lead by yourself. You need the community as well to support, right? So it is a dance between both the leader and the team or the organizations. So I would say keep this in mind when you're leading, being a heart-centered leader.
Now, you mentioned that leaders should focus on service as well as being a part of a community, which leads me to wonder about focusing on serving others, but neglecting your own well being. How does self love and self awareness play a role in effective leadership?
Beautiful questions, because most of the leaders, they go through burnouts a lot because they're so focused on their teams or the work, or building the business. So definitely that's a beautiful question then, and that needs to be addressed. And I would always say, make time for reflections, right? You have to, and have some, and one of my profound moment being a leader, actually, I've learned from Scott Shute from LinkedIn. He is one of the part of the transformational leader in LinkedIn. And he started to tell us he advised us to start with gratitude diary. And I was not too sure at this time. I knew I'd love to do journaling, but I did not even know what is that gratitude journal is, and how it can reflect as a leader. And he said, just start every morning, write three things that you're most grateful of, and just start your day. And after a week, come back and tell me what are the difference you're seeing as a whole being, as a leader when you're showing up. So when I started having the gratitude journal and using that, and till today, I think I learned that 7 years ago. Until today, I'm using it that's everyday part of my life. I have been a different person. I've seen how it affects my day as a leader. When you're being grateful, you are showing up as a heart-centered leader, being more empathized. You are connecting with your people. That is so important. So I think um, one of the key is being grateful and mindful as well.
Beautiful. I started to wonder as you were speaking a little bit about the people here are likely in midlife. And so I wonder if they are leading their teams and their teams span several generations. How do you see that evolving? Are younger generations more open to heart centered leadership or not?
Oh, absolutely. I would say the younger generation, especially the millennials and Gen Zs, right? They are demanding more conscious leadership. The value of authenticity, inclusivity is so profound right now and so demanded. And they want the purpose-driven work. They just don't want to work in a corporation where they're just going to get a paycheck. They want it to be aligned, right? They want something meaningful. So this is why we're seeing the rise of conscious leadership. And I would say that from my experience as well, I've seen the CEOs, the companies like Patagonia, LinkedIn, Salesforce, um, Sounds True. These are the companies, they're putting the people first and the purpose first. And that's why their success is tremendous. The business results are amazing, right? So heart-centered leadership is not just a trend, I would say. It is the future of what we're doing right now.
Beautiful. Yes, I can see that this is going to evolve into something that completely changes our workforce. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Sarah, this conversation has been so enlightening. For anyone eager to dive deeper into heart centered leadership and maybe even work with you, where can they find out more about WOMB and about your coaching services?
Thank you for asking that question. I'm all about leadership with love. I'm promoting it, I'm living it. That's my mantra. And I really want any leader out there or anyone who is inspired by this conversation is willing and to get to contact with me. They can actually, I will send you my link about on my LinkedIn. They can contact me through LinkedIn or through my WOMB's website that I have, and also my WOMB group, the Facebook group. So I can send you all this information and they can connect me through that as well. And I am offering one of the leadership program right now. It's called Leadership with Love. It's a 12 weeks program. It's very intense. And if someone's interested, I'm getting they are right now it's on a wait list. They have to wait on a wait list. My next session will start in mid-April. I will start on that. So if someone's interested, they can definitely contact me through that.
That sounds fabulous. And for sure, we'll have you drop that into the chat. And thank you so much for sharing all of your insights and experiencing, Sarah. Leading with love is such a powerful message, and I am sure our audience will find immense value in it.
Thank you so much, Coach Doris. Thank you for giving us the opportunity. And I'm honored to be here. And I'm looking forward to hear from our audience too. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
All right, that was so wonderful. That gives us a little bit of insight as to leadership with love. Oh, just to make sure you guys can hear me this time, this is not the lip reading section of the summit. So let me know if you can or can't hear me. For everyone watching, what is one shift that you're already feeling? While you put that in the chat, I just want to say how I love that leadership with love is applicable at work or in your own life, because truly you are the leader of your life unless you're giving away that power. And that's okay if that's what you want. Just make sure you ask yourself if that is what you want. So many of us do it unconsciously. So as Sarah mentioned, she is giving away a certain promotion, and that will be in the email I send you to her replay section, as well as her contact information. Sarah's gift to you is sharing 5 powerful shifts for heart-centered leadership to unlock the power of empathy, purpose, and conscious influence in your leadership journey. Goodness, now I know what Santa Claus must feel like with all of these amazing gifts that we're sending out to you. All right, so, oh, good, you can hear me. Fantastic. Yeah, you're right, breakthrough mindset. It is great that this work culture is being more heart-centered, because I did work for a place once that had an organizational shift. It had been very heart-centered, and then it shifted to being a number. And we lost a lot of great people. We lost productivity. We lost a lot of wonderful things. And it's interesting how the morale goes down, the productivity goes down, and everything else. So it is definitely a very important piece. So thank you very much, Coach Sarah, for helping us learn a little bit about that so that we can take that leadership into our own lives. All right, now, Santa Claus, back to that. How many of us have asked, prayed, or wished for more money? I know I have. Did you know that money is energy? It really makes you think about money differently. This is Tabitha's forte. Beyond money, Tabitha Moore specializes in empowering women to uncover their deepest desires and pursue lives filled with joy and purpose. Through her transformative coaching, she guides women to explore their passions, gain clarity, and cultivate the confidence needed to break through limitations. By crafting personalized plans for navigating life and money, Tabitha helps her clients transform their limiting beliefs and take practical steps to accelerate their progress and amplify their results. This leads to a richer, more fulfilling lives. Tabitha firmly believes that each person holds the power to create a life that they truly love. And by supporting one person, she envisions a ripple effect of happiness spreading throughout the world. She advocates for the belief that dreams are within reach and encourages her clients to embrace their innate power to make incredible things happen. Don't forget, you can chat with her live and get all of your questions answered. Also, make sure that you have your notebook handy for this one, because Tabitha is going to take us through a quick exercise that you don't want to miss. And with that, I leave you, Tabitha.
Since money is a big source of stress and anxiety for people, which I totally understand because I've been there myself and I've learned so much the hard way, I want to share what I learned to make it easier for others. So when you're in a state of stress and anxiety, it's hard to learn and find solutions to move you forward. So to get relaxed, we're going to do, we want to get relaxed so that we're in the best state to learn and hear our intuition give us guidance. So we're going to start with a breathing exercise to help us reset our nervous system, because we don't ever want to be in the fight, or free state, which is what stress causes, right? So we want to do a breathing exercise to get relaxed. So you can use this at any time of your life when you need to get calm and relaxed. So we're going to start by breathing in through our nose for a count of 4. I'll just tell you how we're going to do it first, and then we'll do it. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, and then hold it for 4, and breathe out your mouth like you're breathing through a straw, and you want to breathe all your air out. You want to breathe your tension. You want to let it all go. Okay, so breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and breathe it all out like you're breathing through a straw through your mouth, and let all your tension go. And as you breathe out, push all the air out, let the tension go, and just feel yourself relaxing. Okay, and breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Push all your air out like you're breathing through a straw, and relax and feel your body get relaxed as you do it. Breathe out all your air. Okay, and breathe in again for 4, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. Breathe it all out through your mouth like you're breathing through a straw, and just start to, so relaxed. Okay. And if you're in a super stressed state of mind, you can also use the same breathing exercise, but lay on the floor on your back with your feet against the wall with your knees bent, and just do this exercise until your body feels relaxed. When you're laying like this, it's a very vulnerable position. It helps you reset. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to raise our energetic vibration level. So what you want to do is you want to think of somebody who you love. And it could be a child, it could be your pet, it could be your spouse, somebody who you feel so much love for, and feel that love fill your heart. Just fill your heart up so much. Feels so good, doesn't it? Okay, and now I want you to switch to gratitude. Feel grateful that you've got to have that person in your life. You feel the gratitude in your body. Feels so good. So that simple exercise, both of those exercises help you get in a higher vibrational state. And the love to gratitude is an easy way to get to gratitude. Some days, just you wake up, you're grumpy, crap happens. It's an easy way to get back to gratitude and reset your nervous system. And you can use this at both of these anytime in your life to raise your vibration and get calm. So during our talk today, I'm going to use the name universe. That's what resonates with me. And I invite you to change it to whatever resonates with you, whether it's God, spirit, or wherever that may be. I also ask you to be open to possibilities and ideas coming to you during our talk. Even if what I'm saying or how I'm saying it isn't resonating with you, let it spark something inside you and let the ideas come to you. And with that in mind, my intention is each one of us will hear exactly what it is we need to hear today. Okay? All right. I ask you to wonder with curiosity, am I repelling money and other good things in my life? So today we're going to talk about the energetics of money and how the stories we tell ourselves and our limiting beliefs around money affect our money vibration. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So why not think you can? Like I said before, we want to be in a high vibration. And when we do this, we can attract the good things in our life. It helps make things behind the scenes click. There's all kinds of things happening. The universe is drawing people and things and situations to us that we can't even see going on behind the scenes. And if we're in that high vibration level, it attracts those things much easier to us. So we want to be grateful for everything we have now and everything that's coming to us. And the exercise we did earlier, like I said, that can help raise your vibration level so you can make it easier and get synergy, how it all attracts everything to us. because when we're in a high vibration level, it affects our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and therefore our results and how well things come together. So being in high vibration, expecting good things to happen, even if we only have a little part of us that believes and continues to have faith that we're going to achieve our goal or whatever we're trying to do, it attracts things to us and makes it happen easier. So the next part, we're going to take some notes and bring up some of your limiting beliefs. So if anything comes up from anything I say or do, pay attention to it, make some notes. Try not to be judgmental, but if judgment comes up, write that down too. If you feel tension coming back into your body anywhere, maybe you get tension in your neck or your shoulders, and maybe your stomach feels a little bit nauseous, write those things down. It's a good awareness for you to keep as you go through life so you can feel things come up and you can be aware and deal with it easier. So we're going to start. Here's some bills. I got some bills, my Visa, Hydro here, my phone bill. You know what? I'm not paying my bills. What? I'm going to go spend my money. To heck with my bills. Forget about it. What comes up for you when you see me do that? Is it, holy crap, that chick is crazy? What comes up? Do you feel tension? Write down whatever comes up. Do you get panic? Oh my gosh, she's not paying her bills. Oh, she's gonna, gosh knows if she's gonna lose her phone, they're gonna put it. What comes up for you? All right, here's my savings account. It's got 17 cents in it. What comes up for you when you see that? Holy crap, might as well close that account. Is there judgments come up? How does it make you feel? Just brush it off? No big deal. Might be good if she saves some more money. How about if I told you that savings account is your savings amount? What comes up for you then? Do you feel panic? Oh my gosh! What comes up for you? Do you feel tension coming back into your body somewhere? Maybe nauseous? Feel a headache coming on? What comes up? And write it down so you can look at it a little deeper later. Get some awareness. Okay, what comes up for you if I tell you that you and your spouse and a family member and their spouse, you're going away on a trip, vacation together, and your family member paid for the whole trip, everything. It just worked easier that they put it on their credit card and you got a better deal. So they paid for it all and you're going to pay them back when you get home. You got the money at home, no big deal. How does that make you feel? Would that affect your trip? Would it cause you stress? Would you spend less money because you knew when you got home you had to pay that back, even though you had the money? What comes up? What do you think would happen? The difference it would make going on that trip? Okay. I have this check from one of my clients. So if I rip it up, because, oh, money is evil. Oh, it's just evil. I don't want that. Forget it. I'm not having anything to do with all this extra money. What comes up for you then? Wow, that chick lost her mind. What a waste. How about if I tell you it was your check? Oh, not like a punch to the gut. I ripped up your check. Oh, it's evil. I don't want you to deal with the evilness. What comes up for you with that? Did suddenly your body get super tense? What comes up? All right. So at the end, if you like, you can share what come up for you. We'd appreciate anybody who likes to share, but we're going to move forward for now. So if you had some negative feelings or some tension coming up, maybe nauseous, you might need to work on your relationship with money. Energy is infinite, and the world is full of energy, and money is simply energy. Money's not bad or good, it's neutral. It's us that give the meaning to it. If we feel bad towards money, money hears us. It thinks we don't want it, that we don't like it. And really, it's our choice how we feel about money. So that's why becoming aware gives us the opportunity to change our relationship with money. Me and money, we're friends. We do great things together. And more money gives me more opportunities. Opportunities for me and my community and the people around me. Originally, when I started coaching, I didn't think I was qualified to teach around money. All I had was experience from learning the hard way. And then after learning the hard way and wanting to learn more, I got education from books, money websites, bank websites, workshops from coaches, but I didn't have no certifications. And I felt I just wasn't good enough. I'd always planned to get some certifications so that I could help people with their money, because I didn't like that they had to suffer and struggle and learn the hard way like I had to. Well, the universe kept poking me, giving me signals that it was time for me to start helping with money. And I worked with a coach who also encouraged me to start helping people with money. Why let them suffer when they didn't need to? And I could help them. A lot has changed over the last few years. It has really affected people's money situations. The interest rates have gone up and gone down. Housing prices have gone up and gone down. The cost of living has gone up and up and up. Gas prices have gone up, groceries, and the media continues to focus on tough times and how we're struggling. And the more we focus on that, how it's tough and hard and how we don't have enough and how it costs more, the more we believe it and the more we see it. Because the more we focus on something, that's where energy flows and it expands. Did you know that most millionaires are made during recession? Because those people look for possibilities when everyone else is listening to the media and looking at how we're struggling and how times are tough. It's the same idea for when you're focusing on something that it expands. When we buy a new car, suddenly we see that car everywhere. When before, we never seen it at all. Where we focus, energy flows, and then it grows. So I want to help people work on having a positive relationship with money. And part of that is looking at the stories we have around money and changing our limiting stories that are holding us back so we can stop repelling money and the other good things to come to us in our life. I used to have a very fearful negative story about money. I was raised with ideas like, we don't have the money for that. Money don't grow on trees, you know. What a waste of money. Why would you buy that? Those people, they got more money than brains. They buy stupid things. They just blow it. I should get their money. I'll show them what to do with it. There was so much judgment around money. And then there was guilt. I had guilt if I spent it. I had guilt if I had money and someone else didn't. I had guilt if I needed money and I didn't have enough. I had guilt about debt. I said guilt, guilt, guilt upon guilt, and judgment, and then shame. I felt so shameful. For a long time, I lived paycheck to paycheck, and then anything unexpected that came up went on credit. The hole got bigger and bigger and bigger. I felt so guilty. I felt angry and I felt shameful. I made sacrifices to pay as much as possible on our debt and our bills. And then I felt anger towards my family. They got to spend their Christmas money, their birthday money, where I paid bills and debt with mine. Ugh. Later, I realized it was my choice. They didn't make me do it. They didn't make me feel that way. I was the one who made those choices and made myself feel like that. I didn't want to continue to live that way. It was not very happy and not very fun. I made good money. Where the hell did it all go? So I started devouring information about money and money mindset. I read books and articles. I did workshops. I worked with coaches. And one of the things I learned was to make a plan for my income, a system to pay myself first, to pay my bills and pay my debt and the other things I needed to pay for, and focus on having enough, having lots of money, having abundance in all the ways it came to me. even created an account just to have money sit there. It was our abundance account, and we put money in it every time we got paid. We started with a small amount, like $5 or $10 a pay. And as our money situation got better, we put more money in it. We put money in it even those times when we didn't think we had enough. And whenever I was sinking into that scarcity mindset, feeling panic that we didn't have enough, I looked at that account and I told myself, we have lots of money. We have so much money. This money just sits in here and we don't even spend it. Look at our abundance. Look at our blessings. And I felt so grateful for all the money we had. And we got to pay our bills and we had so much extra. And that we got to pay our bills so we could have the services. I felt grateful to pay our bills because we got to have the services and we had the money. It totally shifted my experience because I focused on having enough and having the services and having abundance and gratitude for it all and gratitude for everything that was coming to us. I was able to realize we always had enough. The money always showed up whenever we needed, and there were always possibilities behind the scenes that I didn't even know about yet. Eventually, we had $20,000 in that account, and I was able to use some of that money to invest in my dream to become a coach. Now, if I hadn't shifted my money mindset, it wouldn't have mattered that we had that money sitting there. I wouldn't have felt okay using the money to follow my dreams because I was always worrying about not having enough and unexpected things coming up. So I would not have felt safe to spend that money on following my dreams. So by shifting my mindset, I was able to pursue my dreams. And if you'd like to hear more about how it all came about, my journey, feel free to have a coffee chat and we can go off on a rant and tell you all about all the great things that happened and how at first it was a struggle. But now we're going to talk about 3 money stories that limit our money possibilities and cause us to repel money. If I make more money, I'll have more money at the end of the month. If you feel bad about money, you have no plan, and you spend unconsciously and focus on not having enough, your money will continue to disappear. More money will not get you ahead. Every time you get extra money, something will come up. Car bill, a car repair, a bill, just something will come and your extra money will disappear because you're focusing on not having enough and not paying attention to your money. I used to think about all kinds of big bills coming up. It was like a brainstorming snowball. Oh, we got to get winter tires soon. Oh, we got propane and we got wood and car repairs. And the more I think about all these things coming up, I'd freak out more. We don't have the money for this stuff. And the thing was, we didn't even need the money at that time. It was like a big brainstorming freak out. And really, by the time we got there, we'd have the money. It was ridiculous. To make a change, you have to be aware of how you are now. It's the same as if you're trying to lose weight. You have to be conscious of what you're eating. The first thing a weight loss coach will do is journal about what you're eating. It's the same thing with money. You have to know where your money is going. Like if you're spending $500 a month on Tim Hortons and you don't even know it, you can't even make a choice about it. I know the same was true for me. I got a raise every year and it never made a difference. I didn't have a plan for the extra money. I just spent it with the rest. So if you make a plan, you get to make a conscious choice on where and how you're spending your money. And you can make a change. Money story number 2. If you're paying your bills and paying off debt, I'll get ahead. If you're focusing on your bills and your debt, where energy goes, or where your attention goes, energy flows and it grows. You'll get more bills and debt. You want to make a plan for paying your bills and debt and focus on all the ways that abundance comes to you and all the abundance in your life and be grateful for it. Like I said before, I was always worrying about paying off our debt and our bills, expenses coming up, picture day, Christmas, Easter, car repairs. And then I'd expect other things to come up. And I got lots more of what I was focusing on, more bills, debt, and expenses. So if you make a plan, you can be happy for the money you have to pay your bills, and you get to have the services. Like I have my cell phone bill and I have the money to pay it for it. I'm grateful for it. And it changes your whole experience. Money story number 3, I can't afford it. When you're thinking of buying something and you decide not to buy it and your thought is, I can't afford it, for the most part, this isn't true. You've decided not to buy it and spend your money elsewhere. You have money in the bank and you have money coming in, right? Most of us do. And you could use that money for it. You could use all of your money and not pay your bills. It's a choice. By saying you can't, you give your power away and you're focusing on not having enough. You've made a choice. I know multiple people who choose not to pay their bills and spend it, get a new car, buy a pool, go on a trip. Please do not misunderstand me. I repeat, I am not saying it's a good idea. I'm simply saying it's a choice. You have the power to choose. And when you take back your power, you will find more money and more possibilities. I know it's been this way for me and my clients. One of my clients always wanted to go on a trip to Europe, and she didn't have the money and she didn't know how it would come about, but she started by deciding that she was going to go. So then she started a savings account to have money put aside for the trip. And she started planning where she'd like to go and what she'd like to see. And it ended up someone she knew was planning on going as part of a girls' trip, and they had a cancellation. So there was a spot available. And because it was a group of people going together, she got it at a super cheap rate. So she was able to go far sooner than what she ever expected. So these are just some of the money stories and some of the possibilities and how you can see the situation. So today we've talked about repelling money stories, money and life possibilities, money choices. Remember that the power is yours to create the life you dream of living and having the money to come to support it. You can always use the breathing exercise to calm you and the love to gratitude exercise to raise your vibration in your life at any time. 2 of the biggest things that hold us back from achieving what we want with our money and our life are coming at it from the wrong energy. 90% is your energetic vibration and 10% is what we do. And then there's, just like Henry Ford said, whether we think we can or we think we can't. So I want to thank you for listening today. I hope you were able to hear what it is you want to hear. And I invite you to get my gift, Attract Abundance Now ebook. But before we totally end, I want to leave you with some of these thoughts. To receive abundance, you have to feel worthy of abundance and be open to receiving. The words we use shape our life. I don't know how stops you from finding a way versus, if I did know how, what would I do? Or what steps can I take to start moving in the direction of getting what I want? I don't have the money for that versus, where can I find the money for that? Or how can I get that? I am versus I feel. By saying I am, it's like we embody it. We are that. Versus I feel is a feeling, and we all know we can change our feelings easily, right? Up until now, puts a line in the sand that says, going forward, I can do it differently. Sometimes we have to work on forgiveness for ourselves and others to be open to receiving. Sometimes it's forgiveness that blocks money from flowing to us. Part of being open to receiving is being happy for when when other people receive what we want. It tells the universe that we like what they have and we want it too. Money should be in flow. When money is in flow, it expands. When money comes to you and you buy something with it, and then that person buys something with it, and so on and so forth, that, say it's $10, that $10 has bought $20 worth of stuff from 2 people. So as it flows in the universe, that $10 can become thousands. So just remember, when money's in flow, it expands. So these are just some of the money things and how the energetics of money can make a difference in your life. Thank you. I hope you found what you were needing to hear.
Wow. Just wow. Okay, let's apply this right now. What is one thing that you can do this week to get you one step closer to that abundant life? Put it in the chat. Let me see what you guys are all working on. For me, I'm going to start that abundance bank account for sure. I hadn't considered the positivity of actually seeing that money growing in the account and giving me that wonderful boost. So that's something that I'm going to do. And even if it's just a small amount, that's a great way to become aware of it for sure. So thank you so much, Tabitha, for enlightening us on the energetics of money. Tabitha is giving us all her ebook to unlock your path to abundance with affirmations and techniques to use them. You guys, I can't believe this is the end. I have loved all of these topics and all these discussions. I could do this all day, every day, because having these great conversations is something that I love to do. I'm not sure that I could name my favorite, and I've had so much fun in the chat with everyone as well. You guys made this so much more fun on top of the fantastic content that was happening on screen. I'm seeing change what I'm saying to myself, change my focus to what I want to create with money, not focusing on your debts. Absolutely, those are fantastic. Okay, after all this information of the past 2 days, I also want to know now, what is the emoji that expresses how you're feeling right now after having experienced these discussions, being in the chats, all of the different pieces? How are you feeling now? There was a lot of information, so much to assimilate, really, which can be overwhelming. But, you know, when you buy a self-help book, oftentimes it becomes shelf help. It could be the greatest book ever and you think it's wonderful, but if you don't apply any of it, it sits on the shelf collecting dust instead of making the difference in your life that it was meant to make. So let's move this summit into self-help, okay? So pick one thing, maybe the one with the most tension or the one thing that is the easiest for you to do. If you can't even pick from there, do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You'd still do that, right? Anyway, choose one and take action on that one thing. Anyone have anything that they want to put in the chat as to what they're going to be looking at? I'm seeing some of the things around money still. If you're wanting to pay off debt, think of it as having a zero credit balance. That'd be wonderful. Some thank yous, everyone being pretty happy with the way things are going. I'm seeing the emojis coming up now, so that's fantastic. You should be receiving an email from me, actually probably pretty soon, within the next hour for sure. So check your spam or your junk mail if you don't see it. And if you didn't get it, but you are registered, shoot me an email at hello@promptedcollective.com and I'll make sure you get it. That was hello@promptedcollective.com. I should put it in the chat here for you guys so that if you guys run into any trouble, you can reach out to me. Oh, I'm seeing rocket ships and starry eyes. That's fantastic. That's awesome. So in this email that you will get, you will also get a link to create your username and password for the on-demand system. Then you can click on the presentations that you want to rewatch, or you can click play at the top and rewatch them all over again in the same order that they were here. All of the gifts and the contact information for the experts are in that system. So within the on-demand for that person, you will have all the contact information as well as their gift for you to be able to link to or download. And if you have any trouble, again, reach out to me or any of the speakers. Truly remember how I said after Jennifer's talk about the caregivers, make sure that you are reaching out for support if you need it, whether you're a caregiver or not. Everybody goes through rough times sometimes, and I want you to remember to reach out if you need it. I'm one of those people who's always looking for ways to support people, so give me a way, and I'm sure you have lots of people in your life who are looking for a way to support you. Let me know what you need from me so that I can be blessed by helping you, or let your friends know how they can be blessed by helping you. All right, so my friends, it's time to go. Thank you all for the experts for helping to put this event together. I couldn't have done this without you and all your support. Thank you all for watching. To less stress and more success. Always remember, you matter, so please take care.